This might be better. This might be better. Check. Just listen. I think we're good.
Well, hello there, guys. Welcome to the stream. We're going to go ahead and get started here. I do apologize. I am going to be probably coughing a bit during this stream. It seems that the whole office has gotten a bit of a cold. Thanks, Cheeto. Appreciate that. We're going to go ahead and jump into campaigns for the game. So I'm going to go ahead and wait about 2 minutes to make sure we get everybody here. We're also running this on YouTube, both of our YouTube channels. And thank you, phone. And we're going to go ahead and jump into one of the main campaigns of the game. So I'm going to just take a look here at the campaigns. And honestly, it's up to you guys what we play. I mean, I have some recommendations, but we'll go ahead and see. I'm thinking I'll probably play as, you know, if I want to be really typical, I'll probably play as the Romans. If I want to actually play with, you know, a group that I enjoy more than any, I would probably play as the Sertorians, really the Spanish, led by Quintus Sertorius. But if you guys have a suggestion, we could also do that. Now, remember, if we take the Rise of Rome campaign, that doesn't mean we have to take Rome. We could actually take a number of other groups, a number of other cultural groups. So if anybody wants to go ahead and make a suggestion here. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Way too many YouTube videos. Carthage would be interesting, actually. I think Carthage would be kind of interesting. Albeit they are in German. Yeah, I have one up actually on my channel. It's in English, but it's actually the Battle of Bibracte, so it's not the full Julius Caesar campaign. Let's take a look. So we're going to jump into Rise of Rome. And I'll just let you guys take a look at the different factions here. So we've got the Apulians, the ancient British, Atropatines, the Bithynians, the Bosporans, the Bruttians, or Lucanians, of course. But tremendous amount here, and actually this is a group of Romans that were allied with the Carthaginians. The Carthaginians are an interesting suggestion, but I'm not 100% sure if we want to go with them. If we do, we're going to go for the Carthaginians, Hannibal and Italy Carthaginians here, if we are going to play with Carthage. So I think Carthage is going to be who we're going to play as, unless somebody else has some other suggestions. I liked Condra's suggestion here. Yeah, absolutely. Some random map mission generation. We could do that. And I think I'll take Hannibal in 216 to 203. Damian is saying Gaul. I like Gaul. That would be the Gaelic. And of course, we'd probably take 100 to 50 BC. So we've got one Gaul. We've got one Carthage. We do need a tiebreaker. So let's see. Warrior Donut is saying Gaul as well. I think we'll go with Gaul. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the Gauls. We're going to take 150 BC. So, of course, the Celtic tribes of Gaul, modern France, and northern Italy were fierce warriors. Prior to this era, they inflicted several humiliating defeats on the Romans and sacked Rome in 387 BC. Several Gallic or Gaelic, Gaelic would be with an E instead of two L's, tribes joined Hannibal in his invasion of Italy in the Second Punic War. Following the defeat of Carthage, the Romans steadily conquered the Gallic tribes in Italy and southern Gaul. From 58 to 50 BC, the rest of Gaul was conquered by Julius Caesar. Gallic armies consisted of foot warbands and excellent cavalry. So it's going to be interesting to see how we do this. It looks like somebody mentioned Pontic. The creator is suggesting Saka. He really likes Saka. Pontic. Oh, okay, we had two Pontics. Now we might have to decide between Gauls and Pontus. So 2v2 Gauls or Pontus. Okay, I think we're going to take the Pontics. And I think it kind of makes sense. I mean, you know, Gauls are pretty common. Hellenistic kingdom south of the eastern Black Sea, which secured its independence during the Wars of the Diadochi, circa 281 BC. From 115 BC, under the rule of Mithridates VI, it began to expand, taking control of the Bosporan kingdom in the Crimea. When Mithridates began to encroach his neighbors in Asia Minor, he was forced to withdraw by decree of the Roman Senate. So, of course, these have been enemies of Rome for a very long time. We're going to be taking the Pontics from 84 to 47 BC. We're staying at the legate difficulty. I think that's pretty fair. And over here, another interesting thing about the campaign, you can actually choose the number of battles you have. You could go for 5, 7, etc. I like to stick with just 5 and sort of see what happens. And you can also go for the progressive difficulty level scaling. So this is a really interesting level scaling that I think is just fun as hell. The way it works is that if you select the progressive, each one of your battles is going to be harder than the last. Now, depending on your situation, your next battle is probably going to be harder anyway. That being said, if you take this progressive category, it's going to get much harder as time progresses. So I'm going to go ahead and take the Pontics. Let's see what our first battle, or who our first battle is going to be against, because I actually just went ahead and chose potluck for our enemies. I want to see just a random enemy and face him. Let's see. So, let's see what we have. For selection. First, I want to see what we're facing here. We've got some pretty decent starting forces here, Eastern Archers, etc. I know already not to take the Scythed Chariots, and the thing about the chariots themselves is the regular chariots work fairly well, but the Scythed Chariots, if you can't break the enemy within your first charge, the Scythed Chariot runs away. So I'm going to take some Noble Lancers, first of all. I'm definitely going to take some Light Horse Archers and some Light Javelin Horse, because these actually did really well for us before. Now, we've got some Foalmen. These guys are very good warriors. They've got this massive scythe. I'm not sure if it's scythe or sigh. I've actually heard both pronunciations. That's just deadly. The Thodophoroi, sort of basically hoplites, but not as good as hoplites. I think I'm going to take some Thracians. These guys are pretty good. Some Javelin Men would be good, but I think we'll take Eastern Archers instead. I'd love to take some Eastern Slingers as well. I will take some more cavalry here, some Iranian armored cavalry, and some cataphracts. And, of course, Imitation Legionaries. Can't live without those. Possibly one of my favorite units in the game are the Imitation Legionaries. And I'd love to take some more 30 Eastern Archers. 37. What to do with 37? Yeah, we'll take some Javelin Men. So let's go ahead and accept that. And again, this is my first time playing a Pontic force, so I'm not sure if I did the best. I'm definitely going to go ahead and change this battle up a bit. So let's start getting a bit closer. Alakios, son of Eustachus. So this is one of our generals. Keep him back here. He's got some Imitation Legionaries defending him. And we tend to keep all our cavalry on one side, so I'm probably going to be doing the same here. Let's do this. And by the way, guys, I don't know if anybody's chatting in the Skype. I can't see any new chats. Last one was by Beryl, so let me just refresh my Skype chat here. And by the way, guys,
welcome to Twitch's
And if somebody can give me all the messages after Beryl, that would be great. All right, let's get back in. Here we go. More Imitation Legionaries. I'm going to go ahead and put them maybe over here, actually. Shame on me. There we go. Got our Folkmen. These guys are very, very heavy warriors. Now, of course, they don't have the greatest defense, but Scythe. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I've heard people just say Scythe, but I was thinking Scythe. Let's take a look here. Grab some more of these men. We'll keep our Light Javelin Horse here on the left side. So we'll go for a more measured attack here on the right with our heavier cavalry. But our Light Horse Archers are going to go here on the left. And we still don't know who we're facing. Well, the Cappadocians. But we still don't know what kind of Cappadocians, what kind of actual setup they're going to have here. I'm definitely going to keep my archers in front of everybody here. Here we go. And here we go. Okay, guys, I think that's a pretty decent setup. I can't promise that it is because, like I said, I'm pretty new fighting with Pontus. But we'll see how it works. So let's go ahead and the turn. Of course, we're turning it over to the enemy so they can finish their setup. And there we go. The Cappadocians will be the first to move. We've got an interesting line of men here. It's mostly javelin men. In fact, a lot of javelin men. So there's going to be a lot of chasing going on here. Luckily, we've got plenty of cavalry. Once again, I might not do any movement whatsoever in this initial stage here. I think I might just stand back and let the enemy come to us. That's probably what's going to happen. I will, however, take these cavalry units, move them forward, because I don't want this one getting stuck over here by the river. All right, on the turn. Oh yeah, this is definitely going to be a full javelin attack. I don't think I've seen an army constructed this way before, but they're absolutely going to try to take us out with consistent missile fire. So they're already firing at some of our units. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to start shooting. Light javelin men here. Bring our slingers forward a bit. And they actually held firm. Let's get our javelin men closer. And I do want to charge the enemy here, but I know better. I'm going to have to wait a bit with the Iranian armored cavalry. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and turn them in the right direction. And we can actually move up with our archers. Open fire here on the light javelin horse that the enemy's sending forward. We've got two generals here in front, Ariathis and Sosigenes. So I do want to be careful with the way we actually treat this group. We don't want to be too aggressive. Now we've got three generals in front. Prokoros, Sosigenes, and Ariathis. So this is going to be a battle that relies heavily on that front line of generals to rout the enemy. So I'm not sure if this is going to work out too well, or if we're going to lose all of our men, or lose all of our generals more specifically. We've got a fourth general, so we actually have 4 generals in this Pontic army. Let's keep moving forward. Again, I'm keeping my checkerboard pattern. It's just something I enjoy. For me, it's a preferable fighting style. But I will send in some cav to go ahead and hit the enemy. All right, we're going to end the turn. Hope for the best. So I know as soon as I attack with my cavalry, I'm almost certain that these missile units, specifically the javelin men, are probably just going to turn around and run away, evading us. But I don't think that they can evade us for long. I think we send in all of our cavalry, we're going to catch one of them eventually. That being said, we could wait for them to get a little bit closer, which is probably not a bad idea. That's what we're going to do. However, I am going to try to hit this unit. Of course he's going to run away and evade. And we're actually going to end up charging the javelin men. They actually held their position. So whether this is a sign of things to come or just sort of a fluke, we'll have to wait and see. We'll move our men up just slightly, and actually I am going to take one of our generals here, and I'm going to charge. But before I do, let me throw some javelins. You're not alone, Teskior. You're definitely not alone. Yeah, I was worried about that. The ability to evade. These guys we're going to leave here, but we will start moving our imitation legionaries up a little bit. Ah, the javelin men are not able to evade. That is good to know. So let me fire at the javelin men here. Not an easy battle in terms of deciding what to do. And actually, if we look over here, we've got some Cappadocian cavalry that looks pretty nasty. Ah, that makes sense. Thank you. Thanks, Rich. So essentially, these guys are in such a close formation, they can evade, which gives us some possibilities. Certainly not going to charge, but I'll move up, fire a little bit. And in fact, I could have shot from farther away. That was definitely a mistake, moving up as much as I did. We've still got our Thracians. We've still got our Folksmen. Definitely a very odd army to play with. I mean, I'm not used to an army like this. Hey, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Alsagols. All right, let's end the turn, guys. Let's hope for the best for Pontus. Looks like one of their warbands caught us out. Oh, disrupted. No, that's not looking good for our cavalry. That was very quick. Excuse me, guys. There we go, a nice 46 that we got on the enemy, 46 damage with the Procoros, son of Anquietos, noble lancers. And I'm actually going to go ahead and continue that attack. I think we could break them. If not this turn, next turn. Now, these guys are nice and stuck here, the Eastern Archers. So I'm going to actually charge with our Imitation Legionaries. I expected them to run away. So now what to do with them? Well, we could charge, and actually, despite this being a melee, a missile unit, I think I could actually do a tremendous amount of damage here with the charge. 21 held firm, and it looks like even these Eastern Slingers have some pretty nice weaponry. Hold on a second, guys. Just want to change one thing. It's going to be the scroll speed. There we go. All right, so yeah, we're definitely getting some nice hits there. I do want to make sure that we catch the rest of these guys. This, for instance, it's not going to go well. The sub-general here, Phaiortes, son of Phaiortes, Phraortes, son of Phaiortes, I should say. Not the most original name in the world, but that's all right. I think we can go ahead and charge this guy. And actually, our impact is not going to be that great with the Thracians. I expected something much more powerful. We'll get a much better impact with the Folksmen. So I'm going to go ahead and attack with them. I think the enemy will run. Nope, they've stayed put. Brave, I must say. We could actually go ahead and get a flank charge on the enemy here. I'm going for it. Sure enough, we've disrupted them and fragmented them. Beautiful. Let's get a little bit closer here, but of course we've got to also throw those javelins. It's not going to work out very well. 23% damage. 31 damage, and actually we just saw one of the men fall there. Charge. 30, enemy is disrupted. And we could take Sosigenes, son of Hyginos, and try to go ahead and attack one of these guys. But I think before we do that, we'll get these Imitation Legionaries up. I love the Imitation Legionaries. I'm going to give you guys like a frontal view because they really do look like Roman legions. Really, the only difference here is the color of their togas, of their robes. I think at this point they weren't wearing togas. Maybe they are. But certainly their robes are a very different color. And I'm sure they don't get the best training. I'm sure they're not getting, legionary training to a T, but they're trying their best. Let's put it that way. So I'm going to move the javelins up. Already fired with these guys. So let's move up on the Thracians. And these Thracians, if you guys have not noticed, are fighting for both sides. The Thracians certainly had a lot of mercenary troops. So definitely something that was probably far more common than we could imagine. I do want to move forward with the Thureforoi. But he's nice and stuck in there. All right, let's end the turn. There we go. We've disrupted another enemy unit, guys. Actually, my biggest concern with this force is just the massive number of generals. I don't want to lose a general. It's going to affect our morale, and we've got 4. So, just a few too many, I think. 17, come on, boys. He's like a ghost, says Muso. He is a little bit like a ghost. We go 14, and we've broken an enemy unit, guys. The enemy has routed, and I think they're going to have to disperse because they have nowhere to run to as far as I can see. Enemy broke over here. Hey, look at that, guys. 2 units broken. Our cavalry is amazing. So this is the Iranian armored cavalry. Shouldn't this be Persian armored cavalry? And again, Richard is the master on history here. I know modern-day Iran is Iran, but you know, back in the day it was called Persia. I'm wondering if this should be referred to as Persian. Perhaps Iranian is correct. I mean, I think the geographical landmass is still referred to as Iran. Let's go ahead and open fire. And yeah, that guy's going to have to run. We could actually charge him with our archers. But I don't think it's a good idea. I'd rather get my imitation legionaries up there, attack the enemy, disperse them, and sure enough, that's going to cause a lot of damage to the enemy troops. They're already at 11% rout, so that's pretty good. I mean, we're off to a good start, guys. Yeah, let's pass through. Fire. 20. Nice. These guys can stay put. We would not win that match, but we might win this one with Prokoros. These are our Pontic heroes right now. And I definitely want to go ahead and charge in with the imitation legionaries and try to defend this Iranian armored cavalry unit. Enemy held firm. Ah, very cool. Thank you, Alexios. Let's see. We'll probably get a kill here with our Eastern Slingers. Once again, we've broken another enemy unit. The enemy's getting lucky in the sense that they're actually managing to escape from our charges. You know, usually when the enemy's closed in like this, of course, there's not a unit right there. But if there was, they would have to disperse. They'd have nowhere to run. So that's one really great situation in the current battle, is we're managing to really close the enemy in. And that's obviously going to do a lot of damage. Now, typically, I would not do this charge because we're using a light horse unit to charge the enemy. However, in this case, we're going to get a flank charge on the enemy. So that first impact charge is actually going to have a 36% chance of a victory. So I am going to go ahead and attack. And yes, Mithridates claimed to be descended from the Persian kings. That's why I thought the area was referred to always as Persia at the time period. But that definitely makes sense. And certainly a claim that Mithridates would want people to believe. Possibly true, maybe, who knows? Although, if I have to imagine, I'm guessing it's similar to the Seleucids who claim to be descended from Alexander the Great, when in reality maybe a few were, but I'm sure the vast majority were not. I think we've pretty much done all the attacks we can here. I do want to kind of get crazy and try to attack over on this area, but I think we're doing all right. Then again, yeah, I'm just not going to do it with the Thracians. What about the Folksmen? No, actually our charge would not work out well against the Phaiortes, son of Phaiortes, the superior warband here. So let's fire at them. We definitely don't want to show them our flank, so I won't be charging through to take out any archers. And I think that's pretty much all we can do. Let's end the turn. Choose the enemy. Part of the Persian Empire until it was conquered by Alexander. That Alexander always getting up to some sort of shenanigans. Here we go, guys. So we got some actual attacks by the enemy javelin men, but look at that, 56. We absolutely crushed them. So our imitation legionaries just kicked their ass. No other way to put it. Did an excellent job. Now they're attacking the Folksmen, and they actually got a really good attack here. They managed to disrupt them. So maybe we should have attacked. I don't think it would have made a difference because the impact was still pretty bad. But I'm surprised that they attacked, or on that diagonal attack there. Do we do any gaming site interviews? You know, it really depends on a number of factors. You know, I'm the current PR manager for the company. So if you're interested in doing an interview or something like this, you know, definitely send me an email. I think Musso can put that email down below. And sure enough, look at that. We just got pushed back. We're not going to win here either. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to, well, this might work next turn. But yeah, if you have any sort of, you know, interview request or something like that, you want to message me, I'll see what I can do. See what we can do about the enemy right here, and that's going to be Geeksarchis. And I'm going to go ahead and charge right into the Javelin men. I want to break them. But Geeksarchis is definitely a concern of mine. They're already attacking my poor imitation legionaries. What about a charge here? Actually, it wouldn't work out too well. What about this? Nope. Let's just try a regular old shooting attack. And actually, we just saw one of the Cappadocians take a dirt nap. That's beautiful. Boom. What about imitation legionaries? Go for it, boys. For Pontus. There we go. This is one of the first battles where our cavalry is really doing, I think, the best job, quite frankly. Pretty even right there. I'm going to turn Ariatharis over here to face the light javelin unit. I'd love to get some more boys up, but the fact is we are pretty boxed in here. You know, the entire line is more or less taken up. However, I could move up this group of imitation legionaries. Don't forget, though, that this group of imitation legionaries has Akakios in the group. So we've actually got a general here. Seems a cool name for a general. Yes, I think it does. Let's see. Yeah, numbers-wise, I'm winning, but in terms of the actual battle itself, you know, the thing about, well, one thing I've noticed, at least for Field of Glory 2, is it's really not over until the fat lady sings. This is the kind of game where you could think you're winning, you're doing great, and all of a sudden, you know, something happens, you lose a general, or something, you know, on these lines, and it messes your entire strategy up. And then again, you could be in a position where you're certain you're going to lose, and you end up, you know, pulling off a really nice maneuver and winning the battle. So I never say whether I'm winning or losing in this game until I'm absolutely certain. Right now, I'm actually not feeling great about the battle, but then again, I'm looking at all these javelin men, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, we can handle these guys. This is, you know, this is a bit below our pay grade. We can pretty much deal with these guys, I think, without much issue. Take care, Burl. Thanks for stopping by, bud. And hello, Leiter Schneidel. Good to see you, man. Let's end the turn, guys. Turning it over to the Cappadocians. Sure enough, we've disrupted another enemy unit, but unfortunately, some of their units are rallying. That is not a good sign. They're pretty crap, says Richard Bodley Scott. More disruptions there with the javelins. That's a great question, Laird Stendel. What the hell are they rallying about? That's kind of part of the concern on my part, because at least I seem to notice this, and I could be completely wrong, and Richard Bodley Scott is in this chat, so he could correct me. But what I seem to have noticed is when the enemy starts to do a little bit better than before, they might have some more rallies, and it looks like right now the enemy certainly had some better luck. You know, usually this unit would continue running, but they did rally pretty quickly. That is an interesting question. Maybe it just has to do entirely with the luck of the draw. I'm really not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on it. I am going to fight here. The enemy's held firm. Those javelins, man, I must say, pretty brave. Not brave enough, though. All right. Let's take a look here from the actual top. I just want to see the battle from up here and see what's going on. Thank you, Donnie. Yes, that's what I like what you just said there. A couple hundred arrows in there. Melons might unrally them. We're also just going to take a nice close look here at our Iranian armored cavalry. I mean, I am so loving these guys. They are vicious in combat, and they look like they're pretty wealthy. Obviously, a lot of these are noble cavalry. I would assume that a lot of these noble cavalry units probably are fairly well off. These individuals are not poor. They're not, you know, just citizens, regular citizens. These guys absolutely know what they're doing. And there we go. We've broken another unit. But unfortunately, the morale check on the rest of the units, they held firm. They didn't give up, which kind of is a little surprising. Let's attack here as well with the Imitation Legionaries. And we'll also fire a nice volley into the enemy. And Alexio says there's a random chance of them taking a cohesion test to rally each turn. Ah, okay. Once they get away from the immediate fight. However, if they rout 5 times without rallying, they disperse permanently. Ah, fascinating. So that makes sense for sure. Getting into this fight, our charge is not going to be ultra powerful, but it looks like in melee we're still going to beat the enemy. So I'm going to go ahead and do this charge with the Iranian armored cavalry. Don't forget that we're disrupted, so I wouldn't recommend you new players to really attack with a disrupted unit. I want to say no matter what the odds are, but if the odds are good enough, go for it. If the odds are, you know, neither here nor there, I would say just wait, basically. Let's turn and fire here. We're chasing our men right now. And no, we don't stand a chance against the enemy. Let's see if we charge from behind. Our charge would be good, however, our melee after would be terrible. We would essentially definitely lose. I'm going for the charge, hoping that the charge alone can break the enemy, but clearly it cannot. And here our charge percentage of a win, it's like 3%. It's really not good. Yes, we certainly are, Pixel. Alexia says the Cappadocian army is the sort of army that you play as a challenge once you get good at the game. You have to be a great general to win with them. Yeah, I can definitely see that because they certainly have a lot of javelins. You know, it just seems like a very javelin-centric army, which is fascinating, of course. Let's see what we can do here. We've already attacked these guys. Really want to get the Thorofore forward, but I don't think there's much they can do right now anyway. Make sure we've attacked with everybody. 10% chance of a win. This could go either way, but here we could definitely get a victory. 7, come on. 13. Come on, boys, you could do better than that. Just going to turn towards the enemy so they don't flank attack us here. Hello, welcome, Scutari. I mean, my biggest concern is the warband unit here, the superior warband. Despite, you know, besides them, I'm not too concerned. Although we did kind of get trapped up against this river a little bit too much. Look at that wonderful setup. We can actually also get close to the Cappadocians here and take a look at their generals. They're actually being quite quite smart. The commander-in-chief, Ariathes, is actually staying quite far back from the battle. He doesn't want to fall in battle, and I actually think that's a really smart decision by the AI there. Let's send our turn now and hope for the best. Now their units are rallying a lot, and that's a cause for concern. Got some dispersal though. 20 down. I wish it was 20% of the unit. Oh, there we go. All right, their main general is returning. General fallen. That's an enemy general for sure there. I believe it is because I just saw all of the enemy units take a morale check there, so I think we just killed an enemy general. The Iranian Armored Cavalry. I'm pretty sure the Imitation Legionaries just knocked him down. He is not getting back up, and he's probably somewhere in the midst of this fighting amongst these men. Go ahead and charge here. 23. Enemies fragmented. It's a good start. And let's charge here as well. 31. They held firm. But we're going to continue attacking. Once again, our charge is pretty good here. 48. The enemy held firm, but you can actually see there on the ground the amount of javelins, or pilum, I should say, in this case, that we've been throwing at the enemy, really trying to just damage them as much as possible. Let's charge in with the cataphracts. We've got to get a nice up-close and personal look at these cataphracts. You guys see that armor? That is unbelievable. I mean, I think back in this time period, with the limited knowledge I know, if I had to choose to be some sort of unit, I would take a cataphract. At the very least, I'd be heavily armored. Although then again, I'm assuming heavy armor in a Persian climate, probably not the most comfortable situation in the world. That being said, you know, at least you're fairly safe from enemy attacks. Move up here. We really do need to get these Thurophori forward. Yes, the horse armor is nice. So we could actually get a good flank attack, and I think I'm going to play this against the enemy. So basically just frustrate them into running away. We know we can't beat them head on. Well, when I say the enemy, I should be more specific. We know we can't beat this superior warband head on. We're going to have to find other methods of getting rid of them. And I think one of those methods is just going to be basically to harass the hell out of them. We are getting a flank attack here on the enemy. Not bad, not bad. And we'll get a shot here with our archers, firing right in their backs. And I think we're going to try and go ahead and get a shot on this unit as well. Beautiful. The slingers, one of them dropping to the ground. One of the beautiful things about slingers, one of the interesting things on a battlefield, is that slingers quite often, you know, the one thing about a pebble hitting you in the head and killing you is there's not going to be any visible wounds necessarily. I mean, you might have a, you know, you might have some sort of indent in your forehead or something like this, but, you know, slinger is definitely one of those professions. You could kill an enemy without really piercing him. Of course, your rock, the actual concussion of the rock you're using would probably kill him. Let's take a look here. It is their only good infantry unit. The buttocks of death. What have I missed? I look away from the chat for 2 seconds, and we're talking about the buttocks of death. All right. Let's see here. 43. Definitely going to go for that charge. Come on, boys. 15. Imitation Legionaries, you haven't let us down yet. Don't start now. 14, not bad, not great either. And we've got some more Imitation Legionaries here. Can definitely win this fight. 10, the enemy did hold firm. And we could basically see the enemy line here if we're just taking a look at the line. The enemy is definitely enveloping us just a tiny bit more. Not really, actually, because there's actually a lot of fighting going on here on our left flank. Their right flank, of course. So I'm thinking that things aren't going too bad right now. I'm actually thinking I'll win this, but we'll have to see. A DBM thing. And I'm sorry, I'm not getting the acronyms here. What's DBM? I'm not getting the acronyms. I was born in the wrong century, I tell you guys. All right, here we go. Yep, here we go. Still haven't managed to break them. Another wargaming system. Okay, fair enough. Death buttocks. De bellis multitudinis. I'm sure I mispronounced that Latin horrifically, but I tried. That's what counts. I think we're going to end the turn, turn it over to the enemy. I mean, they're, for an army of javelin men, they're doing okay. They're rallying a lot more than I'm used to. And they just auto-broke our Imitation Legionaries. That's not good. I like those Imitation Legionaries. And they're charging. They finally caught one of our units here. The Thracians, as a matter of fact. And actually, if you guys see the difference now, it's becoming pretty even. 13% loss on our side, and 22% loss on the enemy. We did just manage to break that unit. That's pretty cool. But I still think this battle could go either way. And you're absolutely right on that, Richard. Quantity has a quality all on its own. I like the way that was put. I mean, certainly, especially with some of the battles. I don't want to name the specific epic battles. But one where you're playing as the Romans and the enemy gets reinforcements halfway through, you start to realize, like, well, I felt pretty safe playing as the Romans initially. I was doing quite well. But now that these reinforcements have arrived, I'm not so sure that the quality of my troops can beat the quantity of theirs. I would definitely agree with that. Could actually go ahead and probably charge this guy, but we're not going to do very well doing that. So we're just going to throw some javelins. Definitely wouldn't win that. 28% chance of a win here on a flank attack. Of course, we're not flanking with the correct troops by any stretch of the imagination. And I think that Phleotides will probably break us. Thanks, Stalin, says Opus the Foul. How you doing, Opus the Foul? Good to see you, man. Let's go ahead and charge here. Finally, we were able to get the Thotophoroi to start charging. Unfortunately, Ariarthes, and even though you guys seem to like Ariarthes' name, is a fool because he's continuing to charge after these javelin men. He refuses to stop, deal with the situation at hand, and that's going to cost us some valuable time, without a doubt. Let's see here how I think the Imitation Legionaries here can do a pretty good job. It looks like, no, man, not yet. We still haven't broken the enemy. This will work. Cataphracts, they held firm. All right, we're going to charge again with the Armored Noble Lancers. They still held firm. Wow, okay. I have some respect here for these Javelin men. 98% chance of a win against the Javelin men here. And they've broken. Glory to the Imitation Legionaries. And you can see there, we did fragment some of their units, but for the most part, the morale check was passed by a lot of the enemy troops here. I did not want that to happen. I wanted them to utterly fail that morale check. Charge. At least you don't have to paint the figures, says Richard Bodley Scott. Okay, well, just making sure we can't get any other shots here. We're not going to be able to hit that unit. However, we could get over here with our Eastern Archers and eventually hit this Javelin Men unit right here. So that's something to keep in mind. But I'm pretty sure we're going to break on this side very soon. Just taking a look here from the river's perspective. If you were in a fishing boat passing by this battle, you'd probably be extremely happy that you're not a part of it. For either side, really. All right, I think we're going to go ahead and end the turn. I'm a lot more careful about ending the turn, particularly when I'm playing with an army that I'm not too familiar with, which is definitely the case with Pontus. I don't want to make any mistakes, but I think we're going to have to go ahead and end the turn, hope for the best. Here we go. Wow, look at that. What a surprise. I already knew that was going to happen. That being said, it'll hopefully keep that group, that warband, away from our army for a protracted amount of time, I'm hoping, because right now even our general units are getting disrupted. And we could be seeing a general go down very soon here. Managed to break an enemy unit, and we disrupted all these other javelin units. We broke another javelin unit. Wonderful. We're off to an okay start. Unfortunately, oh no, our imitation legionaries dispersed. I did not want that to happen. Fight to the end, boys. I was wondering, Richard, you're always able to give us really good information, historical information. I don't know if you could let us know that something that's always fascinated me about these ancient wars would be what would be the most common injuries that, and I don't mean mortal wounds, but I guess what I'm asking is what would be the most common survivable injuries in a situation like this? If you can enlighten us, that would be awesome. We're going to go ahead and attack here. We're charging the enemy. 31. Enemy's fragmented. Probably should have fired first. In fact, I should have fired first. Let's see. See if we can break them here. 8% chance of a break. This is going to break them. Fragmented, man. Well, I'll be. Try and get a flanking charge. We're not going to do well against this unit in combat, but maybe with a flanking charge we'll get lucky. I'm also going to go ahead and just fill these guys with arrows. Get a little closer here. And we're also going to turn that heavy armored cavalry back around to hopefully get into a nice little fight on his return. 26, and we've broken another group of enemies. Perhaps this is where we start winning. Look at that. Wow, a lot of breaks here. A lot of breaks on the enemy side. 48%, guys. I am going to charge with my Theta Fore, but I know the enemy's going to run as soon as I get there. Sure enough, that's what happened. At least we got them away from our men. Let's take a look here. So I actually want to read this. Well, they were pretty well protected in the middle by shields, helmets, etc. So it seems likely that arm and leg wounds would be common. Of course, nobody knows. Someone once tried to make me do a project analyzing the wounds in the Iliad. That's really cool. That's a cool project, though, Rich. But I chose to study Ambroise Paré's 16th century surgical manual, arrow wounds, instead. Very fascinating, man. So I'm guessing, for instance, probably a common wound, for instance, if you took maybe a rock from a slinger in the kneecap, maybe you have a broken leg there, you're not going to be effective in combat. Or obviously if you got slashed with a gladius on the leg, something like this, probably a wound that if you don't attend to it fairly soon, you're going to bleed out. I could certainly see that. But I do think it's certainly, for me, a very, very fascinating question, sort of how these wounds would come about, what kind of wounds they would have. But I think you make some excellent points there. It's really hard for us to say. We can only guess. Of course, it's completely subjective. Let's go ahead. We're attacking. Our archers have broken a unit. Yes. I'm telling you, our archers, and I don't know if it's the helmets, the weapons they're carrying, because they are carrying some close combat weapons, or just the incredibly beautiful garb they're wearing, but they just made the enemy run there. We've got them to 50%. I think if we can get them to 55%, we might be able to get a victory. Obviously, if we get them to 60%, we win automatically. Let's fire here at the enemy general. Ariartes. The ones in the mass graves were ones who were killed, of course. Yes, I would expect so. And, well, I actually wouldn't even, I was going to say to a lesser degree, but not even to a lesser degree. Even in the American Civil War, I can certainly think of situations which is, of course, hundreds, thousands, well, 1,000 about, maybe, let's see, BC, 200, let's say, all the way to AD 1864, something like that. You know, even during the Civil War, there were, of course, mass graves after a battle. You just can't bury that many bodies, you know, all at once. It's going to be a lot of work. And I'm sure the threat of illness and disease is definitely something that the generals are considering when they see that many bodies. Let's see. I think I want to move these imitation legionaries through to attack, but once again, our chance of a win here, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Looks like both of their general units evaded, though, which is kind of funny. Balance between warbands and Roman favors the Romans, but warband units are cheaper, so you get more. And I'm just quoting Richard Bodley Scott here. Also, sometimes the Romans run out of steam because the warbands have spare men in the rear ranks. So don't start losing combat power after a few losses. Warbands are, in fact, very strong in this game. Oh, I can absolutely tell that. I mean, we've certainly had some interesting situations with the warbands, this one being the most recent. But when these guys want to fight, they have no problem showing you their capabilities here. So we are going to go ahead and end this turn fairly soon. I hope we still have a chance here. It's a very interesting battle. I mean, we've got a bunch of men. If you take a look here at the battle, we've got a bunch of our men that have broken through the lines and are actually around the enemies. Now, that could work for us or work against us. Obviously, if they trap us and start flanking us from all sides, attacking us from all sides, we're in trouble. But if they just let us attack their flanks, we're going to be doing very well. All right, let's go ahead and end the turn. Look at all those routing Cappadocians. Oh, that might be a rout on our side. Well, maybe not. Nice, our men held firm and rallied, and we auto-broke the enemy unit. That is really a good sign. So there we go, guys. The enemy has lost heart. We are victorious. Take a look here at the casualties. I always like to look at those. My lord, we can claim this as a glorious victory. So it looks like the enemy had 1,191 killed, 1,478 wounded, 2,515 that are now going to be slaves of the glorious, mighty empire of Pontus. And we only lost 243 infantry, 88 cav, 493 wounded, and 83 captured or deserted. Not too bad at all there. Honestly, in terms of all of the battles I've faced in this game, this is one of the least bloody. This battle was actually not too bloody, all things considered, and I think that's probably because of the massive amount of Javelineers. They ran quite quickly. They didn't necessarily get in a long, protracted hand-to-hand combat type fight, but a nice battle nonetheless. So, guys, now we probably have a decision to make. We're going to continue forward and decide what to do next. So, we've successfully achieved the victory conditions for the previous stage of the campaign. Pontic army lost 17%, the enemy army lost 55%. Quixote, son of Husanios, was severely wounded and is not expected to return to command. I love that that is added, sort of the extra information about the sons, etc. And congrats to everybody that just won betting on me. You did a good job. So we have two possibilities here, guys. I'm going to let you guys decide. So we can either call in a force from our Armenian allies, or we can await reinforcements from home. These are not likely to be as numerous. So 1 or 2, you guys can select 1 or 2. And I think as soon as we get to 5, we'll go ahead and make a decision. All right, so Muso's taking 1. Wow, that was fast for 1. Okay, so we're calling in some Armenians. Somebody put 5. Opus put 5. That's not an option. Lots of 1s. All right, so I guess you guys want to see some Armenian fighters here. We might have to get rid of some guys from our army, depending on the points here. No, we're good. Look at that. And I think I even like our starting setup, so this is pretty cool. Look at this, guys. Still got our Noble Lancers. Very interesting setup. We'll try to get some nice shots here. We're definitely in the desert. Although it seems to be a desert with a little bit of jungle in it. Maybe some sort of, I guess it would be more similar to a savanna. You can see here. Pretty nice setup. All right, well, ending the turn. Let's see. One second, guys. Just want to make sure this setup is acceptable. Yeah, pretty much. And we'll grab this guy, move him up a bit. I think this is good. So we're going to go ahead and end the turn. We're still facing the Cappadocians, of course. They haven't learned their lesson, not by a long shot. So I think what we'll do here, guys, we're about midway through our stream, and hey, Commissar Bro, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you, man. Commissar Bro is a good friend of mine, and I'm glad he's stopping in here. He's also done some of the voice work for Sanctus Reach, as well as some of our other games. Really good guy here. What I want to do now, guys, we're halfway through our campaign. Now, I do want to save, just in case we want to come back to this, but I am going to go ahead and put Pontus right here. And I think what we're going to do now is we are going to go to the main menu, all right? And we're going to go to battles. We're going to do now somebody asked about quick battles. Quick battles are essentially when you don't have time to set up the battle, you just want to grab something quickly. You're going to have a random setup and it's going to generate a battle. But what I want to do here is let you guys decide on 2 different factions to fight each other. Didn't have to work this early, so I figured I had time to check this out. Awesome, Commissar. And don't forget, Commissar Bro, you know, we had that conversation about YouTube a while back. If you want a copy, I'm sure we can find one for you. So just email me, you know where. No need to put the email down here, or else we'll have everybody messaging Slytherin PR. But just send me a request and we'll get you a copy right away, man. Let's take a look here. So we're going to go to custom battles, and I want you guys to decide who is going to face whom. So we're going to have the first one selected. Now, I'd love to be able to make, you know, a poll on this, but there are just so many factions in this game, and that's a great thing. The fact that there are this many factions, that it's going to be impossible for us to make a poll. So I'm going to slowly go down this list, and I want you guys to pay attention and look at something that maybe you would find interesting and put it in the comments down below. I think there's a lot of fascinating stuff here, and I want to try to get like a really cool battle going, something weird. We've also got the Slave Revolt. Don't forget that. I like Macedonians. I think Macedon is going to be something we're going to take because we haven't played too much with the sort of the phalanx heavy troops as much as we'd like to. So I will take Macedonian for our first unit. All right, so Macedonians are going to be the first army. We're going to be playing as the Macedonians. Do slaves still have gladiators? I actually haven't played with the slaves, so I'm not honestly sure. Now, for our second army, who shall we play as? Maybe the Greeks? We could have Macedonians versus Greeks, but I'll let you guys decide. And I'll make it fair, too. I was going to take the 300 to 101 BC Greeks, but I'll go ahead and take the... actually, sorry, these would be the best to take. These are the Gauls. Shame on me. I'll take the 227 to 146 BC Greeks, even though I wanted to take the 280 to 228 BC Greeks. I think, yeah, we'll take Commissar Bro's vote. So we will take the more... Well, this is used in this context. This makes no sense, but the more modern Greeks, if that makes sense. Yeah, so an all-out Greek war. And Mediterranean agricultural seems pretty fair. I mean, that's certainly the kind of... terrain these two would be fighting in. So we're going to go ahead and grab just this. And we're going to do default for selection. So let's create it. I'm not sure we have Indo-Greeks. We might, but I do think we have Mountain Indians that are probably the equivalent of Indo-Greeks. But right now we'll play Greeks, Macedonians. Ptolemaics, yes, they are on the list, Siri. And for those of you that don't know who the Ptolemaics are, they're essentially the modern-day Egyptians. You know, the thing about, and I think Richard can back me up on this, generally speaking, when there was a new pharaoh, his name would always be Ptolemy. So it'd be like Ptolemy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you know, just continue onwards and onwards and onwards. But essentially, yes, Ptolemy is... the Ptolemaics are the Greek forces, and I haven't tried them out yet. I am curious to see what they're like. All right, I'm definitely going to invest heavily in some nice veteran pike phalanxes. 96 for a veteran pike phalanx. We've also got a superior warband close order. We'll take one of those. We'll take some regular pike phalanx units. As you can see, I'm not putting anything, hardly anything, into my cavalry. That's probably not a good thing. But we are facing phalanxes, so I'm not anticipating cavalry being something that's too important. Let's see. We'll take some veteran armored cavalry and some armored noble cavalry. We're down to 56. Let's take the Thorakitai, and these are armored medium spearmen. I haven't seen these guys before. We'll accept this setup, and of course we're going to move our boys up. Get a nice phalanx line. Now, you guys know how fond I am of a checkerboard pattern when I'm playing with the legionaries, the Roman legionaries, but I think in terms of the Greeks, just a straight line is the way to go. I could be wrong, but I'm thinking a straight line is the way to go, and I'm actually going to keep the cavalry behind that line. So we'll keep our cavalry, including our generals here, Hippatos and Eustachis in the back. Thank you so much, Richard. Yep. But they were not Egyptian. So see, I've learned something myself. I guess not technically Egyptian. I'm assuming they still call themselves pharaohs. Maybe not. But I can certainly understand the mix there. All right, so I think we've got a pretty nice line. I mean, look at that. Look how pretty. I have to say, I mean, a lot of the armies in this game are pretty. But the Macedonians and the Greeks, with those lines, it's just incredible. Just the way it looks, it's amazing. Let's go ahead and pop out, and let's face these Greek dogs. Macedon is superior. Oh boy, look at that line. Oh yeah, their line is looking awfully similar to ours. Late Ptolemies do, yes, thank you, Alexius. We could take a look at the Ptolemaic list before the end of the stream, if we have time. That being said, this battle looks like it's going to take a little while, and the enemy is definitely attacking sort of, I don't know if you guys can see this, this left hook of the enemy's line. I'm scared it's going to hit us here or try to envelop us. So I might move some pikemen out. Then again, nah, you know what? We'll join them in battle. Today is a good day to die. Let's go. And the turn. I wouldn't say this battle is like brothers against brothers. I think Richard Bodley Scott might have a better understanding of this. Clearly, the Macedonians and the Greeks live very close to each other. They have very similar armies, etc. But I do think there's certainly a cultural difference there. Again, I could be wrong. But I think, yeah, it's similar to brothers against brothers. But it's not like Greeks fighting Greeks. It's not like Athenians fighting Spartans. Certainly two distinct cultural groups, I would think. At least Macedonians of today's world would tell you that. Macedonian nationalists, etc. So what I'm going to try to do is get these guys right on the screen here. I think you guys can see what I'm talking about. So we're going to move forward. And we're going to try to get them right there on that stream. Make it so that as soon as they try to cross, we're just going to have a wall of spears waiting for them. Another thing I'm not crazy about the Greek armies, well, the reason I'm not crazy about the Greek armies or the Macedonians, even though they look beautiful, is I'm much more of an offensive general. I like to just charge into battle and kill anything in my path. Patience for me is not a virtue. So in these situations, I end up usually taking the bait, charging out, and getting absolutely slaughtered. Thank you, Richard. So he's saying that, well, Greeks despise Macedonians as not really being Greek. Macedonians despise Greek for being effete and not as warlike. That's great. I love it. That's wonderful. I'm liking the Macedonians. The Macedonians are pretty cool. That being said, I've traveled nearly all over Europe, and I must say Greece might be visually my favorite country. Let's go ahead and confirm here. And sure enough, they're going to be sending some slingers forward. Now, I think I know better not to charge across and try to engage one of these missile units with a hoplite unit. Or do I? That's the question. Or do I? Of course, they're going to evade. Let's give these guys just a little bit of bait here. So we're going to go ahead and move these generals forward. I'm also trying to catch these missile units. But I want to see if we can give them some bait, essentially, to go ahead and move their line forward. We'll take a look at these lines. We can see how, in comparison to the other lines we fought, the other armies we've used, these lines are certainly a lot more ordered, a lot more orderly in general. But that's about to change, obviously. Could send the warband out maybe to attack, but they're just going to run. So we might as well just go ahead and take the hits for now. And the turn. Let's see. I feel like I'm not even sure. You know, I actually want to get Richard's opinion on this. In a situation like this, where you've got these missile units pounding you, but you've also got hoplite units that essentially aren't going to be able to move forward too much, and you've got another spear unit approaching, or another spear formation approaching, do you send some men out to attack the missile units, or do you just stay put? I'm thinking you just stay put. I could be wrong. Certainly wouldn't be the last time, or the first time, I should say. One thing I am going to do is actually move these generals back. That did not work one bit. But we could keep chasing these guys. Yeah, I think you're right. So I think Richard's saying suck it up, essentially stay put. And I think that's pretty much what I would do. We've also got this nice uphill situation going on here. But, yeah, I mean, attacking them, it would just result in us messing our beautiful lineup. They would run, we would chase them, eventually we'd be cut down. So I'm just going to go ahead and let that line get closer. There we go. Okay. I think we'll move back with our general since theirs is getting quite close. And pretty soon here, we can start maybe initiating charges, or at the very least just preparing for what the enemy has in store for us. Move forward, staying put, not taking any of the bait. But I will throw this. And hello, welcome to the channel. Yeah, pretty much, Ardbug, as far as I know. Oh, my offensive side, I've got to say, Richard wants to attack so badly right now, but I know the best thing to do is stay put. I want to charge. Oh, come on. All right. Let's go. End the turn. There we go. We've got the first line showing up, my friends. Now we're getting into some actual phalanx on phalanx combat. And also, I was actually talking about the Pilum a few streams ago, just the effectiveness of that weapon. I believe it was actually Richard that told me that it's a common historical misrepresentation that the Pilum would bend on impact of an enemy shield. I'm sure that would happen occasionally, but really, if you're advancing forward, running forward, and the Roman is running forward, he throws his Pilum through your shield. You've got two things working together. You've got the force, and again, I'm not a physics major here, but you've got the force of your Pilum moving towards the enemy shield, and you've got the enemy shield moving towards your Pilum. Once those two meet, even if the enemy's stationary, if that Pilum goes through the shield, you've got a dead enemy. Or at the very least, you've got an enemy with a Pilum beautifully stapled to his chest, which is not going to make for a very effective warrior, as you could probably imagine. Let's take a look here and see, we stand a chance here at trapping the enemy. So I don't usually go for a charge on the phalanx line, but this time I'm going to do it. Because I see an opportunity here to trap the enemy entirely. Look at these raw pike phalanx. Even though they're a raw pike phalanx, and sure enough, we managed to push them back. Even though these guys are a raw pike phalanx, look at those helmets. Look at those, they just look awesome. Yes, a definite shock weapon. And I think usually Romans would carry 2 into battle. Impact. Now that they're turned this way, I think we can go ahead and impact again for a better charge. Unfortunately, no, the Thoracatai didn't do so well. And I must say, I'm not a big fan of the Thoracatai and the Thoraforai. I think they look really cool, but I've had a lot more luck with just the raw pike phalanx. Charge. It's going to be very even, so we'll stay put. Here we can win. And that's going to be Ariston, son of Artemidoros. It's not going to be a victorious attack either. And that's definitely not going to be a victorious attack. So we're not going to attack on all fronts. And of course, we're going to keep our line here. I might charge just in this case, and the only reason I charged was I was trying to get over here to try and get a better attack on the enemy phalanx. In general, I would not have charged this light javelinman unit. Although now that the enemy's closer, I might go ahead and do just that. Probably not a good idea. But you got to take a risk sometime, right? So let's also go ahead and attack him here. Once again, the impact's just not enough to effectuate a meaningful charge, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get that general away. And we shall end the turn and turn it over to the Greeks. Your pikes on the right side of the battlefield are in rough terrain, so they may not do very well. Ah! Thanks. I didn't consider that. That's going to be a rough one that's a rough pill to swallow, but I think we'll manage, I hope. Let's end the turn. Just getting a nice view up here, guys, so you can see the battle from up top. And yeah, I can definitely see what Richard Bodley Scott is talking about. 46 men just dropped right there. They're also getting a flank attack on one of our phalanx units. 55! Ooh, I think this victory is going to be going to the Greeks so far. Still going to chase our generals. 47, but they held firm, although we did push them back. And I love this back and forth with the phalanx. You can see we started off in these beautiful lines, you know, straight lines, and now they're pushing us back, we're pushing them back, and we're all mixed in together. I'm almost certain that there must have been situations in battle, which must have been terrifying, where, for instance, and I hope you guys will get what I'm saying here, you would be facing an enemy pike line like this, right? You'd be facing them, your head would be forward, you know, thrusting your pike, trying to kill them, and all of a sudden, another enemy pike unit would push this unit back and be side to side next to you. And I wonder what would happen in that situation. Would you take out, you know, a sword and try to, like, stab at the guy standing, you know, feet away from you? I really am curious to know what would happen in that situation. I think right now we're going to go ahead. We could charge here, and we should be able to impact this guy for some serious damage. 14, he broke. Beautiful. It was a warband, though, that got that attack. Not our typical soldiers. And we broke another unit there, the Thodeforai. See if we can charge here. Oh, yeah. Pikes are very badly affected by terrain disorder, and that does make sense. You know, obviously, if you're fighting in an area that's where you're going to be unstable on your feet, that pike is not. You're not going to be able to hold that thing with as much force, and I'm sure it's not going to deliver as much force. And look at this. We can get a flank charge on these raw pike phalanx units. I think we might be able to break them, guys. Kill them, boys. 58. They held firm, but now we're trapping them into a deadly grip, a death grip. Could have just said death grip, Agrippa. Shame on you. 97% chance here. They're still holding firm. I've got to give it to this raw pike phalanx, man. They are definitely brave. Bravery doesn't make you smart, though. In fact, in my case, all too often my bravery gets me killed. Let's go ahead and attack here. Disrupted. Still very even. Well, more or less even, I would say. This is our general, Ariston. Rough armored warriors. So again, a charge of their cavalry really wouldn't do much here. We'd probably end up hurting ourselves more. So I'm once again going to move back with my cavalry, my general units. Just kind of pull back. This is why I took mostly non-cavalry units. I knew since we were facing essentially an army of pikemen, you know, it's probably not in our best interest to take a lot of cavalry. So at least we did that right. That we're not going to win that charge. What about over here? Nope. Not going to win that charge either, but at least we have the top of the hill. And we'll end the turn. Wow, look at that. 63 down on that charge. And that was against a warband. Hey, David, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. So unfortunately, that Javelin Man unit did break. And the raw phalanx is still holding firm. I think we'll break them by next turn, but I've got to give it to these guys. They are brave. And finally, the Thodeforai broke over here. So we got a nice attack there. And of course, we got the Greeks at 11% retreat, which is not bad. And those raw pike phalanx are still holding firm. I mean, just imagine. These guys are essentially, you know, trained warriors, but they're just now being trained. As you can see, we just had one of our phalanx units run away. And they're braver than their, you know, veteran counterparts. It's amazing. So really want to break this raw phalanx. It's just frustrating me. Finally. Run, cowards. Actually, they're not really cowards. We got to give them the benefit of the doubt. They actually did really well. Let's go ahead and keep moving forward. Attack. Enemy held firm, but they were pushed back. And now we're getting behind the enemy, and we might also be able to get a nice flank charge here. Sure enough, flank attack. 34, enemy is fragmented right now. %73% chance of a win on impact here. So, once again, on impact merely means on our charge. In terms of an actual hand-to-hand combat fight, the Phalanx will do better than us. So we did manage to disrupt them on that charge. I think that's going to help big time. It's not a certain thing, though. You know, definitely want to be a little bit safer than that. Let's see what else we can do here. Kill them, boys. 38, disrupted, beautiful. We might have just taken the bait. We're getting very close to the enemy units. Okay, I think we can end the turn and hope for the best, my friends. Here we go. $50. Oh, they did a lot of damage there to our Phalanx. Alright, we're actually getting some flank attacks, or nearly some flank attacks. It looks like the Thotafwada stopped short of a full flank attack so far. Yeah, I'll actually show them the banner, Richard, here in a second, so they can get an idea. Scutari, so I'll give you an idea of what Rich is talking about. Let the turn play out and we'll take a look. So, if we just get a closer look here, you'll see that the banners here, let's take this banner for instance for this light javelinman unit. It's blue and the bottom is white, basically signifying that, you know, this unit is not in any way concerned about losing. They're not disrupted or anything. They also don't have anything on top of the banner. However, this unit right here, this Pike Phalanx, has red on top of the banner, which means that they're fragmented. They're very, very close to running away. And the yellow means that they are disrupted, which isn't as bad as fragmented, but it's one step away from being fragmented, and certainly the unit is not feeling well. By the way, did you guys see that Pike Phalanx guy just drop to the side? That was beautiful. He's got slashed by a superior warband. I am going to charge here. I've been waiting to do this charge for a while, and this is actually one of the enemy general units. It's Archifos. If we could kill Archifos, I am going to be a very, very happy camper. Don't think we can reach him this turn, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Yep, exactly, Scutari. Exactly. You got it, man. I think we'll go for a charge with the Thotafwada. No, we'll go with a charge with the Pike Phalanx. A veteran Pike Phalanx, mind you. "21 enemies broken." There we go. and they've routed. And what Richard is speaking of, the tatters, I'm not sure we have a good representation here of a tattered flag. Actually, we do. So if you take a look here, you see how this unit has routed at least once. So if you look at the bottom of the flag, there's a few rips on it. I don't know if we can get close enough for you to see that. If we look at this unit, they've routed twice. You can see that it's ripped pretty badly on the bottom. So this represents the numbers falling, actually the amount of units, that have been lost since the start of the battle. And no, we've lost our general. We lost our general there. Of course, that's going to cause massive disorder amongst our group. But I think we still can win, right? Kind of? No, I don't think so. Been doing so well too. Just crushed the Cappadocians, and we're about to be killed by a bunch of effete Greeks. I don't approve. All right, let's see. Just turning towards the enemy at this point. Turn towards the enemy with this unit as well, the veteran pike phalanx. Not too much we can do here. .33, they held firm. We could attack with our Thodophoroi. 18-18, pretty even. Pretty straightforward combat there. And as you can see, the enemy's turning on us with these phalanx. Several phalanx units here, and I think they could smash us for a lot of damage here in the next turn. There's not all that much we can do about that. We could charge the enemy with cavalry, but we're going to be cut down. Although, no, there is no although. There is no although. We'll move forward a little bit and try to get a flank attack here, but I think we're pretty much finished in terms of that unit being effective. Let's end the turn. General fallen. Now, that was an enemy general, so two generals just died, one after the other, one enemy general, one of ours. I think that's a pretty fair exchange. We've got two specific groups of units, and I'll actually zoom out to take a look here at the two distinct groups here that are fighting amongst each other. But this is almost like two battles going on at the same time. Oh yeah, we got a nice little break there. I did not expect that. And like I said, and I think, obviously this particular phrase has been around for a while, but in regards to this particular game, it was David that coined the term, "It's not over till the fat lady sings," which is definitely the case. 30% Greek retreat there. I mean, we are holding on, guys. We're doing okay. Despite the fact that I still feel the enemy has some level of superiority here in this fight. Nice charge here. 40. Oh, yes. Fragmented. We'll have him next turn for sure. Could also charge here, but actually that wouldn't be a very effective charge here. Do okay. Enemy's going to evade, but we get to also charge that unit once again, 40. And once again, that's just the luck of the draw. We were charging through, so we automatically hit this pike phalanx, and that is pretty cool. Yes, we've broken him. Beautiful work there by our Superior Warband. Now, for those of you that don't remember, the Superior Warband had a general attached to it before, so we've lost that general in combat. It's been rough, let's be honest. It's been very rough for both sides. I wonder if anybody can determine why I attack this Slinger unit despite the fact that generally Slinger units can retreat. And the reason is because that Slinger unit already retreated. They've used up all their movement points, so I knew we were going to be able to hit them. And considering the fact we've got the Greeks down to 37%, we need to do everything in our power to try to rout them very, very quickly. It's absolutely our job here. 13. Definitely get a win here. We're not going to be able to attack their spearmen, so we're just going to move back. Let's see. Taking a big risk with that charge. There's really only 1 percentage point between victory and defeat. Thank you, Alcigos. Okay, we're going to end the turn. Look at all of those routing Greeks. I think they're right, Richard. I think the Macedonians were right. The Greeks are too effete. They're just running immediately. They can't stand up like a real man and fight. Might be time for us to take a victory. And by the way, I'm liking that little camera shot we're doing here. It's sort of like an eagle flying overhead. Hope I'm not making anybody dizzy. All right, let's end the turn. Look at all those dead men on the field. Man, it's been a rough battle. Most of them are wearing Greek uniforms, but of course we've got some of our own over here dead on the ground. Maybe just wounded, who knows? Perhaps the surgeons can help them after the battle. Surgery in this time period, though, not what it is today, as you can imagine. Probably be better off just taking your chances and hoping the infection passes you by. Let's go ahead and end the turn. This is the dangerous part. This is where they're starting to flank us. So no matter how well we've done so far, they can still turn us. Enemy unit broken. Wow, there we go. We're getting closer and closer to that possible victory, guys. Of course, if we don't do it soon, we will not win. With this line of Greeks attacking us from the flank, it's definitely a chance they could get a victory here. Come on, boys. Turn these dogs. Get a little bit closer with this guy. This unit is very close to breaking. Unfortunately, we're not in combat with them currently. Flank charge, guys, with the pike phalanx against their pike phalanx. 47. They held firm. Man. Really brave guys. Albeit not too bright because we're going to cut them down. Now, these guys I am worried about. They fragmented, they reorganized. I don't want them losing. And I think we're going to go ahead and turn around with the warband, head back to the battlefield, and ultimately we'll get some flanking attacks with that unit anyway. Flank charge here. Kill them. Disrupted. 39. They've broken. They're routing. We fragmented another one of their units, although this guy was already fragmented. And even though only a 5% chance of a win, I'm going for it. A little bit closer here, and we'll bring these guys back as well. All right, let's end the turn. I want to make sure we've moved everybody first. Just give me a second, guys. Enemy unit broke. There we go. Another enemy unit broke. They're at 49%. I believe this is a victory for us as long as they don't break any of our units. And they don't rally with any of their units. I believe this is a victory for the Macedonians. Ah, they just rallied 2 units. There we go. Another unit broke, though. Unfortunately, it was ours. So this is where things start to get complicated. There we go, another enemy unit broken and several enemy units disrupted, guys. We're so close to victory, yet so far away. Had another unit of ours rally, beautiful. The enemy has lost heart. We are victorious, my friends. There we go. Macedon has won. Now, this is something really cool. Do you wish to accept victory gracefully and let the enemy withdraw without further bloodshed? We could obviously chase them down, try to kill as many as possible, but we're actually just going to go ahead and say honor satisfied, let the slaughter end. Sure, we could take a look at Hannibal's army, the Carthaginians, and that was a glorious victory. Let's take a look there at the deaths on either side. Pretty even, honestly. You know, we lost 602. The enemy lost 1225 men. Again, a very, very nice battle, but definitely a battle I wouldn't mind being a part of as compared to Bibracte or something like this. Because here you have a chance of surviving at the end. But that was rough. I loved how that basically started off, you know, really well ordered and wonderful looking, and just ended in an absolute chaotic mess. But we still won, so there we go. And no problem. I'm glad you won. So far people have been betting on me. You're making a wise decision, guys. So we will take a look at the Hannibal army list. You've been victorious this time, but other battles await. Of course they do. All right, let's take a look here at the... Now, we're just going to take a look at the Carthaginian army list under Hannibal. Of course, you could play Carthaginians not under Hannibal. There are differences. But I do want to let you guys know we are ending the stream here very, very soon. So if you have any questions, I'd ask you to go ahead and ask them now. This is the right time to do it. So this is the Hannibal in Italy army list right now. Spanish Scutari, African spearmen, and look at those African spearmen. You can actually see the units on the right side. The Spanish Scutari may be one of my favorite units next to the legionaries, the imitation legionaries, I should say, because since I always play as the Sertorians, it's my favorite faction are the Sertorians. I tend to always grab some imitation legionaries. And of course, what would Hannibal's army be without elephants? And 50 for an elephant, that's very cheap. Very, very cheap. All right. Could take a look at Hannibal's other army. Hold on. And that would be 216 to 203 BC. This one has veteran African spearmen, imitation legionaries, my favorite. Italian foot soldiers as well. So at this point, Hannibal is already on the Italian mainland and getting some really fascinating soldiers. I definitely prefer this more recent army list. Balearic slingers, of course. Awesome, awesome stuff. All right. And we'll just take a look at the average Carthaginian army here, just regular Carthaginians. The Carthaginians have 5 army lists. What's this Campanian? Following the Oscan conquest of Greek Campania in southern Italy in the late 5th century, Campanian armies consisted of a mixture of hoplites and Oscan javelin-armed foot. Interesting. Well, let's take a look at the Carthaginian army list for 146 BC. Well, 235 to 146, and once again, very interesting here. A lot of pointy foot units, Italian foot, Spanish Scutari, mercenary hoplites even. and of course those famed African spearmen, as well as some war bands of the Close Order. I mean, Hannibal had, or the Carthaginians in general, worked with a lot of different cultures, but Hannibal specifically could get just about any culture to fight underneath him. So that's beautiful, of course. And I think the next time we play this, I might have to play as Carthage. I'm really liking the way the Carthaginians are starting to look here, to be honest with you guys. I like their army setup. That being said, guys, I want to thank everybody for showing up, for stopping by, for taking a look at the stream. As always, I want to thank Richard Bodley Scott for not only making an excellent game, but being available for the stream to not just watch, but also give some advice. Thank you, David, for stopping by as well, another employee of the company. And really appreciate everybody else stopping by. And, of course, thank you, Muso Cheeto, for being the moderator for this particular stream. I am going to ask Muso to please share our YouTube channels. We always do that at the end of the stream, guys, our Matrix and Slytherin Games YouTube channels. Muso's also even shared my channel, which I really appreciate, the Agrippa Maxenius channel. And we always like to drop those before the end of the stream so you guys can stop by there, watch some more videos, just have fun, essentially. You're always welcome to stop by. But thank you so much, my friends. Take care. And glory, in this case, to Macedon. What a hell of a victory we just had there.